Hello, friends and neighbors. Stevie Coyle here. Mighty fine guitars without my lights. Where's my other light? Sorry, it's kind of dark, isn't it? We'll fix that pronto. Hang on a sec. We have the technology. I thought we had the technology. Let me turn up some lights. Back in a flash. Fire the lighting guy. There we go. A little glaring, but I think we'll be okay. Let me check and make sure now that the signal is going out, because there have been some internet spottiness going on. See if things are happening the way they ought to. Hi everybody, Stevie Coyle here. Mighty Fine Guitars, the Friday Noontime webcast. And you may have already noticed, I have a lovely Martin in my arms here. Yes, indeed. Right. 1963, beautifully reassembled by a young feller up in Petaluma, California called Matt Kerslake. And he made it a Martin again. It was a pile of matchsticks, and he turned it back into a Martin. With a neck reset and a new fingerboard, new bridge plate, all the guts, all the stuff you want on the guitar. There's a split in the back. It's been cleated. This guitar has been played. And it's one of those lovely old beasts. Look at this. And some people say, oh my gosh, it's got scuffs on it. And the wood is kind of showing through here and here. Somebody has loved this guitar. This is like one of those teddy bears that gets loved to death, where the eyes come off and the fuzz comes off and it gets just right, gets loved nice. And Martin aficionados will look at this and say, oh God, I gotta play that. It's that beautiful pumpkin-y color. Oh, let me check and make sure, folks, are you hearing sounds? Always want to check in on the sound, make sure that's happening properly. I think so. We got 6 people online here. Birth year Martin, Christian, what can I say? What a charming thing to have a birth year Martin. Huh? It's wonderful. It's a triple O. Now the body size is the same as an OM, but the neck is the thing that's different. Typically, and at this point in the Martin development, things were kind of typical, which is to say nowadays there's lots of crossover amongst specifications. But back then, youngsters, the body was the same between a triple O and an OM, but the scale length, the length of the string, the effective length of the string was different. On a triple O like this, the scale length is short, 24.9 inches, and on an OM it would be long, 25.4 inches. And the fingerboard width typically on an OM would be 1 11/16 here at the nut, and that would be 1 3/4, just a 1/16 of an inch more on an OM. You can also tell at a distance, generally speaking, you can tell the difference between an OM and a triple O, even though the body sizes are very similar. Triple O will have a pickguard that comes around and surrounds more of the sound hole than an OM, which would have kind of more of a teardrop shape down here. Wouldn't have all this bit right there. That'd look more like that. That's a Martin. found a new way to finger that. What a clever lad I am. Now, folks, are you hearing things okay? Do somebody pipe up and tell me if the sounds are coming through the way they ought to. Sounds great. Thank you, Jeff Russell. Thank you very much. Okay. Hi, David. Hi, John. Hi, two other people watching. Michael Ferrucci. You fine fretted friend, you. You know, there's a lot of guitars in this shop, but I understand why people like Martins. It's the sound that got in my ear. That Martin-y sound, something about the low mid-range bloom that happens with Martin guitars. It's mojo. Must come in a spray can, and they just hit it with a spray can before it leaves the factory. Most Martins have it. I say most Martins have it. Bright, powerful, great saturation, but also great separation, great articulation. It's wonderful. Now, you know what? The Vintage Guide came out. It's kind of a blue book, reference book for pricing. And pricing is, you know, you see it all over the place. There's the pricing, you see what people are asking for on Reverb and what things are actually selling for. That's the valuable number to look for on Reverb. Is you can look up and see in that little trough on the left what things actually sold for rather than what the asking for them is. But the Vintage Guide is a pretty good kind of blue book starter place to find out how to price guitars. For the past 2 years, virtually all Martins before about 1970 have gone up between $750 and $1,000. So if you're in the market for a Martin, ain't no better time than right now before the prices continue to go up. The Vintage Guide for one of these in primo condition says $7,000. This is, by my lights, this is in better than primo condition. This is what a Martin should feel like. A Martin of this era, of this vintage, should feel like and sound like and look like. The visuals are great too. The asking on this one is $5,750. How about that? That's a great deal, especially for this particular guitar. Matt is good. Matt Kerslake, capital K, small e, small r, small s, L-A-K-E, Kerslake. Petaluma. Doing a lot of repair work right now, but going to be getting into building his own stuff, I suspect, at some point. But my goodness, what a great repairman. We just had a guitar that he put back together, head out on the road. Somebody came by and picked up, they got a great deal. On an Epiphone, a 64 Epiphone 12-string, the Bard, which is just like the Texan, except it's the 12-string model. Nobody should know this stuff, but I do. That guitar went out, got a great price. And that took this old 64, this 12-string that needed a lot of work, neck reset, all kinds of work done on it. He put that thing back in better than playing shape. It's better than it would have come out of the box back in 1964. The guy's terrific with old instruments that way. I always like to listen to the half steps to hear how they bang against each other. F sharp G, or as I would say in my own little teaching system, and yes, I do teach, I would call that note right there, that F sharp on the 4th string, 4th fret, I'd call that 44. So if you were playing a 44 in first position, an F sharp, and you wanted to capo, instead of having to kind of dance around the fact that it's no longer an F sharp up here, it's still a 44 against the capo. So a 4-4. a C chord, for example, my little system, you're welcome to use it. I find it enormously useful myself to think about things this way and to teach this way. In a C chord, you got a 53, 5th string 3rd fret, you got a 42, 4th string 2nd fret, and a 2nd string 1st fret. So I got a 53, 42, 21. That stays consistent even if I capo anywhere. That's still a 53, 42, 21. So this way you can start thinking about the shapes on guitars and positions rather than what the actual physical notes are, which I find, frankly, being an old folkie like myself, a self-taught folkie, I find nearly more confusing, almost more confusing than just talking about the positions of things. And that kind of reflects what you're looking at on tablature anyway. You know, you're looking, when you're doing tab, you're saying, well, that open 6-string open, a 6-0, 60. Takes a little getting used to, but I think a lot of folks grok it pretty quickly. And I tell you what, it makes lessons, especially online lessons. And yes, I do give online lessons. Makes them tremendously easier. When you can just talk about hold a 42, 31, 23, 12. Sounds goofy at first, but it really works. Especially when I can't be there to wrestle somebody's fingers around, you know, like on Zoom or FaceTime or Skype. And actually, folks, Skype has better sound. It's peer-to-peer. So there's less filtering to go through. A lot of people use Zoom, but if you still have Skype, that's kind of the way to go. And yes, there is availability for lessons on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. The shop is open. Mighty Fine Guitars here in Lafayette, California, thank you for asking, is open on Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays for retail. Also open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but just for lessons, either online or in the shop. And to a certain point, I can teach almost any kind of style. Fingerstyle is a specialty. So if you've been looking to get your thumb working on that alternating bass that Tommy Emmanuel talks about, gotta get this going. This is a disobedient digit, he says in that wonderful accent. Like that. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. 1963, Martin 00018, which the 18 means mahogany back and sides, spruce top, 14 frets to the body. The triple-O action means, the triple-O portion of that means narrow fingerboard, 1 11/16, like a dreadnought, and also short scale, which means bends are going to be a little bit easier to do than they would be on an OM, which is the same body size but has a longer scale length and a wider fingerboard. Esoterica is a specialty. Delight to play. It's set up beautifully, of course, Matt Kerslake, and it's beautiful, and it's $57.50 is the asking, and come and get it is all I gotta say. This will be up on the website soon, and this video, if you have any comments or questions that I'm not getting to now, by all means post them down there and I'll get to them pronto. I'll also send this over to the Mighty Fine Guitars Facebook page and to my account on Instagram, Stevie Coyle over there on Instagram, and Stevie Coyle Music on YouTube. So come and get it. 1963, Martin, 00018. For sale. Mighty Fine Guitars, Lafayette, California. Matt Kerslake. Thank you very much. I'll answer questions online right now. See you down the road, folks.